What's going on, everybody? This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, WIll Ortner, and it feels weird. It feels a little yucky, but I'm going to do it anyways. It is time to start looking at the top free agents that I believe the Seattle Seahawks should target in the 2026 offseason because, well, Seahawks only practiced twice this week. There's not a whole lot of news coming out because, well, we're the top dog and we're the number one seed in the NFC. So I can't give you a preview of who the Seahawks are going to play. I can't tell you about the key injury news for the Seahawks that may or may not be able to play in this game because, well, we're quite a ways away. And so I'm hopeful that a lot of our guys will get healthy and ready to go. So why not, instead of procrastinating, let's look ahead and try and find some of those top free agent targets. But I want to ask you first, before I get into the 5 players that I think are best, and I will be ranking them 5-1, to make sure that you stick around and don't miss out on any of those players. Don't miss out on who I think the number one target should be. Who do you want the Seahawks to target in the 2026 off season? Is there a player? Is there a coach? Is there a person that you think could come into Seattle and immediately flourish and help this team take that next step forward? Let me know down below in the comment section. The first player that I want to take a look at on today's video is wide receiver Alec Pierce. Now, for those of you who have not had an opportunity to really view Alec Pierce this season, I would say that he is exploding onto the scene. And I got a couple of other reasons why I want to look at Alec Pierce, but I do want to calm everyone down. In my eyes, this is still the Seahawks re-signing Rashid Shaheed. What Pierce can do for this team is he can add in a big play wide receiver threat and a big wide receiver target for Sam Darnold. He is taller than Rashid Shaheed and JSN. Right now, the Seahawks are lacking in the wide receiver room a tall, lanky receiver. I think that Pierce can fit into that mold, and I think that you will be able to see Pierce really grow as a player. When you looked at his last 4 seasons, what have you noticed about his yards? He got better. He got better, and then he got better. This is his first year over 1,000 yards receiving. Alec Pierce is slowly growing into one of the better wide receiver talents in the National Football League, and I believe the Seahawks would be able to get him on the cheap. Most importantly about Pierce, he was doing that with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Well, and technically Phillip Rivers. Imagine what he'd do with Sam Darnold, with JSN on the other side. He could be the ultimate Robin to JSN's Batman. The next free agent target that I want the Seahawks to really go after and look at, well, he's already in the building. Kenneth Walker should be one of the utmost important free agents that the Seahawks target because he already knows the system that you want to run in Seattle. He already knows all the good places to eat. He already has the chemistry with everybody. He already knows the coaching staff. And frankly, he already knows what the role he would be playing in, and he would grow into it. This is what he's done so far this season, not missing a single game, which there was some worry early on in the preseason. He was dealing with some injuries. Over 1,000 yards rushing, but what you've seen from Kenneth Walker is as the season's gone on, he's gotten better and better. His yards per average continues to jump, and the only reason the touchdown numbers are where they're at is because the Seahawks have not used him in the low red zone. They've used Zach Charbonnet. Very important to note when we're talking about Kenneth Walker here. I think that Kenneth Walker could be brought back into Seattle at a very cheap rate. But I also think that he could continue to excel in a 2-headed running back system that they have created here in Seattle. The offensive line is getting better. The running backs are getting better. And Kenneth Walker, to me, should be a Seattle Seahawk in 2026. What should he be to you? Do you think that Kenneth Walker will be back in Seattle next season? Let me know down below in the comments. Yes or no. Is it a blank check situation, or is it one of those situations where the money has to kind of work with the player? But I do think they might be able to find that common ground there between the Seahawks and Walker and potentially bring him back in 2026. The other thing that's to note about Walker and what I think could be a big addition with Walker coming back into Seattle is that he would be able to really push this offense forward in year 2. How often have we seen a a running back in their second year really perform at an elite level and really grow when they have been put into a situation like Walker would be put into. I think that K9 could really take this team and take that next step with this crew. So let me know what your opinion is down below in the comment section. Am I right? Am I wrong? Yes or no? Next, let's get into my top 3 free agent targets for Seattle. I gave you my first 2, but we need to talk about the other 3. Remember 3, 2, 1. Don't go anywhere because you don't want to miss out on those. But before we do, I need to let you know about my good friends over at Rocket Money. I've got a couple of vacations planned for this summer. One most important to me is getting back home in July. Now, I knew I needed to start saving money so that I could be in a good financial position. Thank goodness I found Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has helped me track some of my subscriptions, and what do you know? Every once in a while, you find some double payments on streaming services. I didn't need to be doing that. Rocket Money helped me find those and cancel those extra subscriptions. I didn't need those. Save some money. Now I put that money away in my travel fund, but what Rocket Money is also helping me do is budget for my vacation. Now, what Rocket Money is doing is it's helping me set spending goals for each month so I can save a little bit of money on the side and continue to place that money over into my travel budget. I'm very, very excited for that traveling trip, and I'm very excited to be able to use Rocket Money to help put myself in the best position possible to have the most fun that I can on my trip. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rocket Money. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/SeahawksChat. That's rocketmoney.com/SeahawksChat. rocketmoney.com/SeahawksChat. The next free agent player that I want to take a look at is actually also already in the building for the Seattle Seahawks, and that is safety Coby Bryant. I know that he's been out the last couple of weeks with that knee injury that he suffered against the Rams, but what Coby Bryant has done a fantastic job this year is really holding down the secondary. While Julian Love got hurt, while Devin Witherspoon got hurt, while even Reek Woolen got hurt. Who was the constant who was there in the back end? It was Coby Bryant. And I know that he got hurt as of late, but that is a stellar season for a safety who really came into his own. He would have well over 80 tackles. He'd probably even have another interception. He's turned into a great ball hawking safety, and he's only going to get better as he plays that free safety position more. Because remember, Coby Bryant was mostly the Seahawks nickel and dime type of defensive back early on in his career. We have to keep him in Seattle. He's going to be cheaper than some of the other safeties on the market. He's not going to earn that tier 1 money, but he might have some of that tier 2 money. What I will tell you about Coby Bryant is he already knows the system, the guys already respect him, and he is a great leader. Bring Coby Bryant back to Seattle. Next player, number 2, that Seattle should bring in, Jaelan Phillips, the edge rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, some of you who don't remember the trade deadline trade might be saying, hey, isn't Jaelan Phillips over at Miami Dolphins? Well, he got traded over to Philadelphia. I'll tell you right now, Jaelan Phillips would be a huge addition to this edge room. As good as Uchenna Nwosu has been, as good as DeMarcus Lawrence has been, they are both elder NFL players, and how often can we expect them to continue to have seasons like they have been having? Seattle has to have a backup plan, a contingency plan. Seattle has to get younger at that edge position. Jaelan Phillips is the perfect guy for that. Bringing in Phillips could not only add an extra oomph to that defensive line and that defensive edge, but more importantly, Seattle would be getting younger at a very key position. This is the type of player in Phillips who I think could really grow and flourish in Seattle. The last Seahawks free agent player that we need to look at, and I know it's not sexy, or maybe it is the most sexy. We're going at the offensive line, and I'm looking at Tyler Linderbaum, the center for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, there is kind of an expectation that Linderbaum will be re-signed and end up in Baltimore. Excuse me. I still think that the Seahawks, if he hits the market, has to throw a blank check at him. If Linderbaum was brought in to Seattle, you would instantly have an upgrade at that center position. Now, this isn't an attack on Jalen Sundell, but Linderbaum is the type of player that grades high in PFF and grades high when other offensive linemen watch him perform on the field. He can make all the blocks. If he has to go mano-a-mano against a nose guard, he can win that block. If he has to reach a linebacker, he can win that block. And no one beats him and gets a sack on the quarterback. 2 sacks allowed on a year, that's pretty damn good. Seattle would instantly have the best offensive line, in my opinion, if they brought in Linderbaum at center. You would have a better version of Gray Zabel because he would be older and would understand how to play against different defensive linemen because he's been pretty damn good this year. You would have at left tackle Charles Cross, who's one of the best tackles in the National Football League. You'd have Abe Lucas at right tackle, one of the better offensive tackles in the National Football League. He's definitely above average. And then at right guard, who knows? Now you could have that battle between Anthony Bradford, Oluwatimi, Jalen Sundell, Christian Haynes, whoever. Go and draft another guard. I don't care. You bring in Linderbaum as your center, this Seahawks offense would take leaps forward. And that's from a crew that's gotten better every single week, in my opinion, on the ground game. And I think that Linderbaum could help this offense go back to what it looked like at the beginning when I'm talking about the passing attack. Now I got to ask you a question because we've looked too much into 2026. Who is the best matchup for the Seattle Seahawks next week? Do you like the Seahawks versus the Packers? Do you like the Seahawks versus the 49ers? How about the Seahawks against the Rams one more time, or the Seahawks against the Panthers? Those are the 4 teams that Seattle could play against. Let me know which team you think Seattle can run through the easiest down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the show today. Had a lot of fun looking at 2026, but I'll tell you right now, this season is still going strong. Going to be a lot more videos about the Seahawks winning football games than potentially winning football games in the fall of 26. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time.